are these local-ass bitches?
On today's show, the bitches get chatty with none other than Nora's daughter, Madeline. Listen as they describe the everyday perils and colorful experiences of the Chicago Transit. It's not for the faint of heart. Join them as they reminisce on the 90s, and then enjoy the musical stylings of the group as they perform a few songs in their repertoire. From honing your street smarts to the craziness of this year's election, sit back as they banter back and forth in their usual spirited style. Without further ado,
I'm Lisa.
I'm Manny.
I'm Rosa.
I'm Nora.
Welcome to the lab.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the lab.
Hello.
Hello, ciao. We're keeping it PG this show.
Yes, we have a special guest this week.
It's me, fam.
Yeah.
Nora's daughter, Madeline.
Woohoo!
Welcome.
I feel loved.
Madeline is absolutely beyond her years.
Yes.
She
Yeah,
is what
so
we
she
would
can
call an
hang.
old soul.
Yes. She's beach-minded.
She's beach-minded, a beach soul.
Yeah, like, so she acts way older than what she is, and we act way younger, so we kind of
Yeah.
So, like,
And
matches.
then you put me in an adult situation. I'm like,
You need a few more years yet, and then
Yeah.
you're going to be totally fine. But yeah, beach-minded.
I always felt the same, like when I was young. I always felt like I couldn't relate as well to people my age, and I always
Yes.
felt very weird about relating to people my age, and it felt very alienating. But like as an adult, it's definitely easier.
I was like that too. I hated the word the phrase "go play." Like go play with those other kids. Like while the adults talk, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. You guys are talking about juicy stuff.
Yes.
Let's stay
Oh,
here.
man.
whenever you guys would come over, I'd always be like,
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm the opposite.
Like, try
I
to
always
hang out.
like hang out with like the 20-somethings at my work.
Uh-huh.
They're like, you're like so funny, but adults are always like,
No, I
What
didn't
is wrong
when
with
I was
you?
When I was younger, I hung out with older people. I mean, I did, but also people my age, I guess. But I did get along with a
mine's
lot of
always
older
young.
people. Yeah,
For some
but
reason.
now
no.
the younger people
Mine's
are
always young.
cool.
I don't
You know
do
what I mean?
the
Like,
Yeah,
you're
right?
fine.
It's like
You're-
we skipped this reverse timeline
Yeah.
thing. It's really weird.
It's very.
I was
weird.
never into the beach.
Well, the kids seem to like the younger kids are okay with hanging out with the VGAs.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean?
They're
Like,
open to hanging out with
Exactly,
us.
which
That's
is
true.
awesome.
Like even at work, like I'll be like, let's crank call some of these people. They're like, I cannot even believe you're 30. I'll be like, what the fuck? You know? And they're like, what are you even gonna say? I'll be like, yeah, so like I went to the clinic and like I'm pregnant.
Oh my god!
And they'd be like, who the fuck is this? I'm like, come on, let's do it. Let's just call. And they're like,
Let's just do it.
let's just do it. And they're like, no.
I've always had friends that were older than me. Like, I have friends in college. And,
Right.
No, I have, all of my friends have always been older than me. Even now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I mean, like, I'm friends with people in my grade, but I mean, like, it's not like, you know.
Right, but you have a rapport with older people. Like I had that. Like I think we did. You know what I mean? Like even I would even talk to like my teachers. Like some people thought that was weird.
I love my
Wait a minute,
teachers
what
so much.
Yeah, no, we would have like personal conversations.
I
I wish I was like a 40-year-old woman so I could like, hang out with my teachers. You guys are the best. I love them.
She's pretty cool teachers though.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, her music teacher she really loves very
That's
much.
awesome.
and- yeah,
Miss
and-
Lindsay, Miss G, Miss D, like.
They're probably like our age, right? Like maybe
No,
a little
they're
younger.
in their 40s.
Oh, okay. Well,
How
I'm
old are they?
41, girl.
Yeah, but they're
like,
like.
girl,
Yeah.
right?
Miss D, she's 51.
Oh, okay.
She's
She
like,
doesn't look like it.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
so
she
she
could
can
kiss.
she's
kiss.
still like me now.
Yeah.
Like, she's like,
Hand stretches? Wow.
Yeah.
I hope when I moved here I could kick and
Me
stretch. I could
too.
barely kick and stretch now.
I know, like I was just saying,
Like
like
a lower
the
back
hardest part of my
pain.
week is getting in and out of my car. All of a sudden,
Oh,
that's like
no
a really
way.
hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Now. I'm like,
No
oh, I
way.
gotta get out of the car. It like, takes so much energy. I'm like,
That's
oh,
so ridiculous.
It's so bad.
Do you have to give yourself like that wobble like
Yes.
start up? You're like one.
You wobble
Yeah.
it out, and
You
then it's like
gotta
one,
swing.
two,
Nine,
three.
zwei, drei.
That's bad.
Oh my god, it's so B. It's
Oh,
B.
man.
But you know what? I mean, okay, so we all went to New York recently.
Yes.
And
Oh,
we were
yeah.
walking all day, every day. And
Yes.
it felt like good.
Oh,
Like
I felt
to
real
walk.
good.
Like, you know, wasn't like in too much pain. Except that one day we walked a lot and then the next day.
And it was raining the entire day.
Yeah.
You probably had to wear, like not good shoes. You see, because then when you get like the beach,
Oh,
you have to get
so
the right
neat.
shoes. It's true.
And
And I
I gotta
think,
wear the nurse shoes.
and that's why, Madeline, I'm telling
I'd
you.
rather die
Because
than
the
wear
cheap
nurse
shoes that we were wearing.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
true. Like from your
Jeans
age
and
I'm
on,
gonna-
messed up our feet. Yes, I am
With the
telling
boots I
you.
wear.
That's what I'm telling you. Like if she started wearing dance clothes now, she'll be fine.
Dance clothes.
Dance clothes. They're the
Oh,
clothes that we
I was
wear.
I was like, no thanks.
That would have been.
It's like running in place everywhere she goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but our New York trip was awesome though. Like we
I
had a
just
really
don't
good
ever
time.
So much
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, like it was really good, and we did walk a lot. And the because you take transit, like
We got to
everywhere.
see old friends.
Yes, it was great.
We got to just hang out.
Yes.
It was really nice. We ate a lot of
Yeah.
pizza.
Yes.
Lots of pizza.
Lots
Did
of
you see some weird
pizza.
shit on the subway?
You know,
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
let me tell you
we were
something.
the
Shit on
weird
the
shit on the
subway.
subway.
let me
In
tell you
Chicago,
something.
there is weird.
Let me tell you what happened the other night. We were in downtown, and it was the day.
This is
It was
the
the
daily
rally. It was
where
the
I
rally, the
work.
Cubs rally day.
Oh,
So-
Why
you
were
guys
you
went to-
there?
Well, because she had to go to work, and she did my hair that day.
And I was like, you don't have to stay. I do not want to
Jesus.
be
She
around.
didn't want to go
this.
walking around. It looked like Times Square
It was
in
terrible.
River North.
It was
Like
the
it was
worst.
crazy.
Sure.
Like because there were so many butts. But then we get downstairs into the subway platform. It's about 10 o'clock. This man comes into the subway, and it was like, yeah, I won, Cubs, yeah, I've been waiting 108 years, blah, 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 like screaming and yelling
And
for
I was
like
like-
20 minutes. And I said to Rose, I'm like, hey, come to think of it, every time, because we've been to New York, like she's
It's
been there
true.
5 times, been there like 4 times. And granted, we don't live there, and we've, but we take the train a lot when we're over there. Never does that happen. Never do we get a
This
belligerent
to me
person. And then
happens
Rosa
on-
says in Chicago, it happens on the daily.
And
You
we're
get
around
some
there,
belligerent
River North.
fuck.
Oh my god! Remember, I was like, "Watch these homeless people. He's
Yeah.
gonna come to me." They're like, he was like, "Hey man," I was like, "Ha!" All the time. They're like,
Yeah.
"Excuse me." I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
And as I'm like walking, they're like, I'm like, look at this motherfucker. He's probably gonna want to talk to us. He was like itching. Too.
Yeah. He
And
was
I
like,
give him like my
"Excuse me?"
biggest bitch face. Like
Yeah.
I'm like.
That
You
doesn't
know,
happen
and
over there.
they turn like then they don't because like if you're like you like I'll open they're gonna be like hi and I'm like
Yeah,
go
you gotta
away.
cut it off for the source.
Or like when
It's so
they
weird.
come from like the other car and they're like,
Yeah.
I was in a hospital.
Yes.
I'm like,
Oh,
and I had to keep your head down, chin down, chest out.
Yes. That's what you gotta do.
Yeah.
And in New York, I don't remember that. I mean, like,
oh,
yes,
they're totally covering the other
Yeah.
car. She means like
it's gotta happen. Maybe it happens in Queens. I
they
don't know.
open the door and there's like this sob story. And it's the same sob
Yes.
story all
Yes,
the
yes,
time.
yes.
Bro,
Yes,
this
yes.
can't happen to every single
Yeah.
one of y'all.
Like
Yeah.
every
There was this one guy. There was 2 incidents. There was one, this guy, and he wasn't homeless, I swear to God, but he was like, there's this priest who hit me, and I found Jesus, and I was like, yeah, sure. And he was like, he was wearing Beats. I was like, you're not. and he's walking up to people. I'm sorry. He's like, record me, and I was like, he's like, I know y'all phone can do something else than just listen to music. Record me. I was like, yeah, like
That's
he wanted to
insane.
be like.
Right.
I was like, no. And he was like, somebody just came up to me and gave me Versace cologne. Smell good. I was like,
like I'm telling you on
it
the
didn't happen in New York.
daily, on the daily.
And like I said, we don't live there, but I'm like, but okay, we've been in, because you're like, okay,
Oh, we took
Manhattan.
the train a lot there.
We took a lot, yeah. And it's like, okay, Manhattan, you could be like, okay, there's a lot of ritzy, things.
Always.
But we were
We're
in
like-
Brooklyn, and the neighborhood we were in was like a regular neighborhood. I don't know, maybe in Queens.
It's like,
it
wait, when
happens,
do you
maybe
take
in
the
Bronx.
train? Do you take the train a lot?
weekly.
Yeah.
It's like they come from the other door.
She's like, it's every day.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm usually when I'm with my dad, if we go out, we go downtown.
Right.
So
And
that's why.
that's
And
where
my,
it's
my dad
happening.
is like super street smart and stuff. So,
Right.
like, that's why I'm always like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you have to be.
it was like, oh my god, this
You
is
grow up like that.
scary. We were finding a place to get lunch, and there was like a Black Panthers meeting, just like the street. My dad was like, "Let's not walk down this street." I was like,
Yeah.
Oh, nice. This is the
Yeah.
first I'm hearing of this.
Or I was
Just steer clear.
I was
Don't even go.
Maybe it
there.
was Black Panther from Marvel Universe.
There's a whole bunch of people in, like cat outfits, like.
No, I was like, and then there was another time I was on the red line, so
The red line is...
The red line is even worse.
Yeah, I don't know. I was going to the cemetery, because I'm actually Robert Smith.
I like going to the cemetery
It's
too.
so fun.
Yeah.
It's
Graceland
so
is my favorite.
Yeah, that's where I went.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's this homeless guy, of course, and he was nuts. He was like, "I'll tell you a joke for a quarter." I was
Oh
like,
my god.
and some guy was like, "You get some Red Hots in my bag." Like he was like giving him gum.
This is like Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, this is so weird. And so he's talking to me, and I'm just like, just chill out, like I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
And then my dad is like, turn around.
Yeah.
Like he's doing all Rick Grimes with this guy. He's like, you know what I have to do. Like, and the guy is like, he's trying to get money from me. And this homeless guy, he's calling me mom. He's like, come on, mom. I was like, what? And he goes to touch my leg. Like we got off the train, and my dad was like yelling at him, and then the guy,
my god.
the guy called my
Always.
dad the N-word.
You didn't hear about any of this too?
And then what the heck? The guy called my dad the N-word, and then the train doors closed. My
What?
dad like punched the train window.
Oh my
and I was
God.
like, Dad, what's up, Dad? Because
Yeah.
the people were looking.
Right.
It's so bad.
I was like, Dad, and he's
See,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
like he was totally went out Rick Grimes in this guy. Like I thought he was gonna like bite his neck off.
Oh my
nuts.
god.
And
I
I
love
was like,
Rick Grimes.
I was like,
Oh.
I was like, Dad, I'm so embarrassed.
It's like this whole... It's like, like every step was a...
bullshit.
Bullshit. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Going on the train is totally like every step was a problem.
Yeah.
Like all the
I mean, you build
time.
up an armor.
You
know what I
do.
mean?
You
After
have
a while,
to.
You build up this armor
Yeah.
that kind of helps.
You're like,
You have
this
to.
one time, but you could have a podcast of just train stories. This lady was just sitting there, and she was like waiting for somebody to move her bag. She had like a weave on, and then next to her was like a bag of shit.
Yeah.
And so like,
On an empty seat.
On an empty seat. It was
Mhm.
crowded, and somebody was like, I'm gonna sit here, and then she was like, no! And then the girl like took the bag and like moved it, all fucking hell broke.
Oh.
This bitch screamed for like 20 minutes straight.
Oh my god.
She was like, y'all motherfuckers, you fuck your ass, fuck you up, I swear to God, I fuck up your kids, I fuck up everybody in your life, fuck your life, you are terrible, you are motherfucker. Like, I'm like, great, now we gotta sit there and listen to this shit for like 20 minutes. The lady was just sitting there like, oh my God.
All because you moved the bag.
I
Yeah.
just want to go to my yoga class.
Yeah, that's exactly how she was. I was like, no.
I was going up the escalator and I glanced at this the subway lady who like stands.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just watches. I glanced at her and she was like,
No, you
She
didn't.
flipped me off. I was like, all right.
That's weird.
What's the subway lady?
I was like, it's just like this.
Like the
random,
transit people, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I-
Like you know how they stand like
Oh,
by.
oh no, not like the security. No,
Oh.
no, she was probably homeless.
Oh,
She had
okay.
like a big bag.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Like a
Oh.
breakfast club, like you bag lady, like you talk to buildings.
Yeah.
Like she like,
Yeah.
Yes.
and she just flipped me off. I was like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Or the weird lady.
Again, head down, chin down.
Yeah,
like
shut
you
up,
don't
shut
say
up.
a thing. Yeah.
And there's like that other lady that sits in front of the art museum with like the nasty dreads. Like, oh, there's a lady. She sits in front of the art museum. She's just like with like all of her personal belongings.
Oh
I
my
know
God.
who that is.
You know who it is? She's got
Yeah,
the
she's kind
ratchet
of
ass
young-ish.
She's not beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe my
She probably
age. I
looks
know who that
weathered, though.
is.
You guys
She's
like
like on
run
the
in the
street.
same circle.
She has
Yeah.
all of her personal belongings.
And I'm just like, I just want to like go see some Picasso paintings and not get jumped by you.
See, and if that was me, it'd just be like a cart full of lipsticks.
Her I give money to.
All my Cure albums.
Her I feel bad for. I
like,
give
what do
money
you got
to.
here,
I
lady?
give her.
Really?
I give her
Judge.
food and stuff. I don't know why I give
The
her
only-
money and
But
food.
sometimes when you actually talk to them, like you
Yeah.
find out what happened.
Yes,
like I've
yes,
done that a
yes,
few
yes.
times, and it's always like.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I
'cause,
give
like,
money
most
to
of
a
us are
lot of them
Yes.
just because I'm like,
Oh,
You know?
totally.
And the people
It's
get
really
scared.
scary.
oh
the thing-
yeah,
Everybody's
I'll
paycheck
give
to
money.
paycheck.
But the
If
ones that are like,
something,
hey
like,
man,
crazy
you're like,
happens to you, it's
come
like-
on, I think you could pull your
True.
weight.
I'm totally
But like
kidding.
her,
I
for some
am.
reason, I was
I
giving
am.
money and food to her breakfast or something. She's
The
like,
thing that really bothers me is the vets.
With the dreads.
The veterans.
Oh,
when you
that
see them.
I'm always like,
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so sad.
that- I
that's terrible.
Yeah, it's
I'm always like,
yeah. and, like there's like a couple of them that I know, like on my route, like Roger, like he's over always, like around the Target, like by Elston and Fullerton, like around, like you know what I mean, like around there, and yeah. So you know, you start talking to them. He was Desert Storm. You know what I mean? You start to like get
the
like you know,
first Desert Storm.
and
Oh,
yes, and the thing is that you might, I mean, yeah, you know, they probably did, turn to the bottle and drugs. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like
if you were forced into a situation
exactly,
you were mentally
especially if you were
prepared for,
and
some
you were
people are
totally
cut
PTSD.
out for that.
right.
They just tell you like you gotta join the army because you're fucking we'll pay for everything. Well,
Right.
Because we'll brainwash you and
Yeah.
make you one of our puppets.
You're
Yeah.
gonna Vietnam and shoot like 5 million people, and then you
Yeah.
come back and you're like,
And you're like
You're like,
messed up.
Yeah,
You're
like
like,
I would
what?
never be able to do that just because like a guy's a penis doesn't mean like he's prepared to do that.
Right,
They
exactly.
just like put it on them. I never understood
Exactly.
that mentality of like, you gotta be a man.
Right,
Yeah.
A
right,
lot of
right.
times
Like-
it's like people that live like maybe in a small town. There's not a lot of like work options. And
That's
it's like
true.
the best option. For
That's
them.
true.
Like, they'll get the school. Like they got the school paid for.
They-
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
they get everything.
A lot of people
Sure.
go into it for like economic reasons too.
And there's people that flourish
Oh,
in the
good.
military. There
Yeah.
are.
Oh sure.
You
There's
know
some
what I
people
mean?
that like it.
Yeah.
Like for the people that
Absolutely.
like it, go for it.
Right.
Yeah.
If it
You-
suits
Yeah.
your
Better, if
personality,
they want to do it better than me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
my cup of tea.
Like, I'm not cut up for that.
But I think that's.
I would,
Imagine.
it's
I
gonna
would
so
be
hard.
like, yes, sir. And I'd be like,
I know.
I
think of.
I'd be like in boot camp, I'd be like, I'm tired.
Oh my god! It's like Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, I have to get
I
out of
could
the
really run
tank.
the mile at school.
Yeah, right. Maddie's like, I
It's
can't even
do I
get
have
out
to
of my
out
car.
of this tank now?
I gotta get out of
Barely
this
get out of my
fucking
car.
Oh my
It's like,
god.
hang on, let me just get on this cannon. I'll try to lift myself up. With the cannon.
It would take like 20 minutes.
Be like,
Give me
wait,
a minute.
hold on a second.
I
Hold
took a pacer test at school. How am I gonna like do stuff in Afghanistan?
Oh yeah, for
I'm
real. That stuff is hard, man. I mean, you will be conditioned from
And
like
all they have to do is
eyebrows
show
to
you like
toenails.
one of their spiders, and I'll be like, Tring!
No,
I'd be like a flash.
Oh, yeah.
American Airlines.
Nope. Yeah, nope.
Yeah.
That is not good for me.
How did we get on this topic?
Yeah, I know.
We
what
were talking about homeless veterans.
Yes.
Well, this
What's
is what
veterans?
happens. Welcome to the lab.
Yeah.
Madeline.
We'll start to like segue and segue and segue.
No, I remember one time though, we were talking about the owl. I saw this guy. He looked like the Sicilian from Princess Bride. Remember the guy? What's up, Meth? Was that the Sicilian? When
Yes.
you got this on the line. So he looked like him. And every time I looked at him, like it would just be crazier. Like whatever he was doing was just crazier than the last thing I saw. So I looked at him the first time, and he was just looking straight at me in my eyes, and his lips were going.
Like
He was just like.
That is so
So I
weird.
just like continue talking to my friend Perry. Then I look back at him, and he has his foot in his mouth, and he's biting his toenail.
Ah.
So it's like every time you turn
Biting the
around,
toenail.
there was
So I was
something
like,
more
okay.
fantastic.
Then the next time he had like stood up and he was just looking at the people that were sitting across from me. And he was just like giving them direct eye contact right above them. And then he just gave one thrust. His crotch. He just thrust his crotch once.
It's like a signal from another dimension.
That is so weird.
The cock thrust.
Again, on the train.
On the train. Yeah, so
I was
interesting.
at the Thompson Center, and there was this guy who was having a fight with his coat. Yeah,
With his coat.
With his coat. He was like,
Those are the worst.
yeah, I was just like, I'm just trying to eat my sandwich, and I'm like afraid for my life. He's like, what the fuck? And he's like, it's his jacket. He's like, leave me alone. I was like,
Oh my god.
and then,
Telling you.
and that's when my dad was like, you want to go to the bathroom? I was like, I can hold it. And we only got like what 7 stops.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Thompson Center is the worst because you've got.
The worst.
That's what.
It's a
that's,
weird building.
That's
isn't
where
it?
my
It is,
my
but-
umbrella got stolen by a hobo.
Oh.
There's a story, but I didn't witness it. They weren't like,
Right.
Like,
It was just gone.
yeah, like I turned around and I was like, that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It's because you've got like your corporate people, you've
Mhm,
got your
mhm.
college students, and then you've
Oh.
got the crazy homeless people having fights with their jackets.
Wow.
And I'm just like, can I just get my Panda Express, please?
It
It's scary. It's
is.
She-
Because it's unpredictable.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what the hell is going to happen.
That's why I hate taking.
Yeah.
Yes, but you have to learn how
Yeah,
to.
you have to learn how to get around.
Mhm.
Not only that, but you have to learn how to read people. Like the
Yup.
ones that look sincerely volatile,
Yes.
or the ones that just kind of look like they're talking themselves. You have to learn that because you have to develop
And you
your own
will.
street smarts.
Yeah, you
You know
will.
what I mean? You can't. Your dad's not going to hold your hand the whole time.
You feel it, man. I bet like
You
those
feel
people,
it.
like that guy with the businessman where he like threw his cell phone in there.
Yes.
Some, like,
Oh yeah,
some
listen to
homeless guy
this.
threw a cell phone in like the train tracks. And the guy
This
goes,
happened, like,
"Oh,
last week."
businessman, man, you're just a homeless guy. You're a big piece of shit. I'm so much better. And the homeless guy was like, oh hell no. He's like,
Yeah.
Oh my god. Why
He
you-
threw his cell phone into the tracks.
Because
Who
he has
did?
such a
Wait, who
disposable-
the
did what cell phone?
homeless person.
Uh-huh.
Rosa got down to the train. I was
Took
on
the
the phone
guy's
with
cell
her.
phone and threw it on the tracks?
Mhm.
Rosa did? I can see this.
Yeah, no. She's like, Rosa was talking to me while she was getting down to
I was
the
like,
club
oh, what the
platform. So she was like, oh God, what the hell is going on here? Because that's what she says. Every day it's something. So there was an argument going on between this business guy and this homeless guy. And that's they were like screaming and yelling
so
about
the guy's
something.
like coming back. He's like, "Come back to me! I swear to God, come close to me! I'll fucking kill you, man! I'll fucking kill you!" I was like this like business guy, and I was like,
what?
So Rosa walked further away. She's like, I'm removing
I was
myself
like,
from the
yeah, I
situation.
was like, this looks like this guy's gonna snap.
Yeah.
You know, like you could just see it in someone. You're just
wow.
like,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
Hannibal Lecter bullshit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
you're
nope, nope.
Yeah,
No
those
need
crazy
for
older
this.
white guys, you gotta watch them.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Rosa's like, I can't believe.
I'm more afraid of a crazy older white guy.
Me too.
Yeah.
Than anybody else.
Yeah, it's
Me
like
too.
really
White guys
different
are the
genre.
scariest.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they're so charismatic. You know what I mean? So that's why, you know,
Weren't
sometimes
most
you get
serial
that.
killers
Oh,
white
yeah.
guys?
Oh, yeah.
I saw somebody
Mhm.
They were super
today that
cute and
freaked me
charismatic.
out. He was an older gentleman. He had like a short sleeve button up shirt, and his hair was like slicked back. He had kind of like a gray beard, but he was just like walking around like without a care. He's like,
He's a
what
serial
was he?
killer.
Oh my God, it's like
he
Kill
was
Bill.
an older white man, right? But I was like, ill. He just murdered somebody and it's in his trunk. You know what I mean? Like he just
Ew.
Where
gave me
was
that
it? Like
vibe.
around here?
Yeah.
great, just move.
Just kind of like I'm only here so that people could see me. It's my alibi. Like that's
Right.
exactly that's what I immediately got when I saw it.
Ooh.
That's why I'm moving it.
What if it was like, what if he just like farted? And that
I
was
know,
the-
right?
Like he misinterpreted.
I've been wrong before.
And we go overboard with these like ridiculous.
And we're like,
We're
we're about to call the police, and the guy's just like,
It's like, he is a
he was
farter. He's like, what? I just did gas. Sorry.
I was trying to cover up the noise.
Oh my God, that is true. Like we do jump to conclusions very fast. But you know what? I think
Sometimes
that's
it can be
why.
right, you know,
I
your
think that's
intuition.
why we have like those street smarts because that's how we grew up. You're like on edge. It's like you have your antennas are always up.
Because
You know what I mean?
of the bullshit
Mm-hmm.
that you just keep seeing on the daily in Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
in Chirac.
One of the things that I forgot to write down, the topics that I wanted to ask Madeline was, like, because we grew up in the 90s and she's obsessed with the 90s stuff, like, is it because you've always been surrounded by it or because it's kind of like the trend now?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like,
I feel like Madeline was into the 90s before it was a trend, you know? I feel
Well,
like
because
you've
like
when
always
you were
been
even
into
small.
Yeah, because like the music and stuff.
Yeah.
That's how I really started getting into it, and I just like when I think about like the '90s, about like what I think about '90s goth. And I
Mm-hmm.
think
Oh,
about, like,
yeah.
like
Grunge, yeah.
Like I don't think about like what's the other like the model business or
Oh, like,
the 90s,
yeah, like Kate Moss.
That's totally
yeah,
not
which is,
90s.
and brown lipstick.
Yeah,
and all
that's
that.
that's not what I think about when I think
Yeah.
about the '90s. When I think about the '90s,
She thinks about, like, velvet A-line dresses.
Mm.
and I think
Oh,
about
I love
Malcolm
those.
Ryan.
That's gonna so be my
Malonzo.
style.
I love him so good.
Oh yeah.
Well, it was the last decade where there was like a distinct 90s sound. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah.
that's like, you hear it, you're like, that's 90s. Or
Right.
like just like the 80s or something. But I feel like there's nothing that's like, oh, that's 2000s or that's the 2010. You know what I mean?
Like
the 90s
people
was
are always
kinda
like, I
last
love
decade.
90s, but I don't know. Do you think it is because it's a trend or
I think
like?
it's because everybody's wearing the same outfit, and everybody's like, I was out for Forever 21 yesterday, and this is what really pisses me off. There was a shirt that it had the pool background for the Nevermind album, but it just said Kurt Cobain.
Oh,
It literally just said his. I was like, real.
Oh man.
That's this. I just feel now, and I can get into this topic and I can talk about it for 2 hours. I think that Nirvana has become overrated. I don't think
Really?
that they don't need all of this.
You think after the death and
I know everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, we get kids.
yes,
It's
yes,
so-
yes,
Such a torch. And I mean, like, yeah.
He was martyred because of
He,
Oh,
it was like martyr status. Yeah.
of course, he was a tortured soul. Of course,
Mhm.
he was. You know, he was. He wasn't. You know, right or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, I just think it's too much now. He's lost his mystery, his magic or something because he's out there so much.
Or people
Like a
created a
mythical
mystery.
figure.
They created
Right.
something
People
about
and
him.
everybody
Right.
puts all the blame on Courtney. You know,
Yeah.
because she was nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they
And
have zero idea on what he was really like.
They were both crazy. I mean, the first night
Oh,
they met, they got into like a
totally.
fist fight at the
Totally.
Metro, and then they
It's
went
like-
home and
Yeah.
like crashed.
How romantic.
Like that's what happened the first night they met.
Remember that black eye you gave us? Yes, lady.
But I will say this about
Princess.
I will say this about Nirvana. I like Nirvana. I was never
course.
like a huge fan, but I like them. But when they came out,
Yeah.
I remember distinctly being like, "This is different," and
Yes.
music just went
You're right.
It just
I
took
remember
a
that too.
turn all of a sudden.
I
'Cause
liked
before that,
them right
it
away.
was all the
I
hair
remember
bands.
that.
It was like all
Yeah.
the lows and then as soon as Nirvana came out, it
Yes.
was like everything was different.
I remember
And it was like
Teen
the only time I've
Spirit
ever
video.
seen that happen. Like
Yeah.
so.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember
I
them.
remember
I
It was
thinking, I
like
was
a
like,
silver night. It was
I
like
like
crazy. I mean, it had
this,
been
yeah.
brewing,
Yes.
you know, but it
course.
was like they were the
'Cause I mean,
symbol
because
of this
They were the
new
ones that hit
form.
the mainstream
And he
with
was
like a bullet.
beautiful. He was so like, God, he was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Like
It
when I was a
cute.
kid, I was like, but there was something about them that you were just like,
And they were very anti-establishment in the way, even they were
completely.
anti the music industry.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
you know, even
the
like,
rock stars. and,
yeah, they
did
were
that
like
whole-
anti all of that, which I totally identified with. You
There
know what I
was,
mean? So I was like, but I was never like a huge Nirvana fan. Like that didn't happen until like later. I am always with this thing that whenever something becomes like super, super mainstream, I almost reject it.
Yeah, I do
You
too.
know what
I'm
I
very
mean?
oh my
similar
God,
to
you
that.
came so hard for my White Stripes.
Yeah, I did. And then I saw them
They are
at
so
the
good.
Aragon, and they won me over when I saw them live. And when I saw them
They're
live,
so good.
I was like, okay, now I get it. I like him. I like this dude. You
My
know what I
favorite
mean?
is
It's
the
like,
dead
yeah.
leaves and the
He
dead
Yeah.
carried an entire show by
Yes.
himself.
Yes.
This motherfucker sounded like there was like a 15
That's where
piece
he
band.
won me over.
We were like, what?
Mm-hmm.
He's such a good guitarist.
Yeah, and just like
I
every, I mean,
he's very unique. That's
yes,
And they were like
exactly.
another
He's
one where
creepy,
like
too,
they were
which is-
different too.
Like he
almost
looks
like
like
a
he belongs in a
Nirvana-ish.
Tim Burton movie.
Mm.
Like he's like
Like a
Yeah.
Johnny Depp vibe about him.
yeah,
Totally.
he's got like he's interesting.
He does have a Johnny Depp vibe about him.
He's interesting.
Yeah.
People, that's like the thing about the '90s when the grunge came
Yeah.
out, whatever, like Alice in Chains, Sound
Oh, yeah.
Mudhoney, Poodle Moon, like
Oh my
Yeah.
God, Mudhoney! I haven't heard that in a
Mudhoney,
long
yeah.
time.
yeah, like all those bands when they came out. That's when all of the hair metal bands were like,
Bye.
we should do that too.
Yeah.
But like that's when Motley Crue
Oh,
was like,
that was so sad.
Yeah.
and even
You
Extreme,
could- it's so
even
obvious.
Extreme got like
Tried to
grunge
be
whatever.
grunge.
It's
Yeah,
so
and then that's
obvious.
when released his solo album and stuff when he was like that guys and he like
Yeah.
grew out a beard so he looked like Jesus Cristo and he like tried like
A little Nuno history for you guys.
I know everything about that man. Okay,
Oh, she
I could-
loves Nuno.
I could like lay out
From the band
facts.
Extreme.
I could lay out the facts right now. He's got 10 siblings. I know his mom's name. I know his dad's name. I know where he was born. I know how
10 siblings, damn.
I know what time he was born at. Like I know everything. Like I know when he moved to America. I know how where.
Well, where's he from?
He's from Portugal.
Portuguese.
Oh,
Yeah, he's Portuguese.
that's why he's
Portuguese.
attractive.
He's legit.
It's like, are you
Yeah.
Porto-
Like-
but wait,
He was totally born on like a farm. Like,
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere.
he's like, I like polento. Like, no, because no, I have people that I know that are from Portuguese, but they're it's
From
so-
Portugal?
Yeah, from Portugal, and
Yeah.
they have like
I'm
they
from Irish.
mirror our life, like our Italian life. I was like, how
Right.
did you grow up so freaking Italian?
Right. It's like the culture is
They eat
very
like
similar.
polenta and stuff, and
I
all
like
this-
polenta.
It's like I eat polenta, and I was like, what? You grew up like me,
Yeah.
you know?
You like polenta too?
That's like when black families and Hispanic families meet and they're like, oh my god!
Yeah.
You got it with the chocolate too! Especially on Thanksgiving.
It is.
We
like-
bonded with that, getting hit with chanclas and
We got-
tapinas.
You know, though, I never got hit with a tapina, which is a chancla.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
a chancla.
yeah.
I don't.
which
I
is
got
a
hit with a
slipper.
spoon.
Yeah.
My-
Oh, we did have the wooden
Mama,
spoons.
yeah.
That was their
Yeah,
preference.
but she was like
preference.
90. My grandma was like old, so when she would hit you with the spoon, it was like all like soft. It was like,
Yeah.
But then she
Yeah.
would keep cooking. Like she would go back to
Yes.
cooking.
Yes.
and it was like water and like getting hit with the spoon.
My
I was like,
aunt
"Ow."
said that Nonna, that my grandmother broke 2 of those on her in Italy in like the 50s or
What the
whatever. it
hell
was.
did she hit her with?
With
Like,
the
on-
spoon, broke the first one, went back, broke the second one.
On what?
Was going back on Zia Mariuccia.
Like the cute guy.
On
Yeah.
a culo?
I have no idea where she was hitting her, and then she went back to go get a third one.
I think she's
And-
exaggerating.
Yeah, and then somebody
It's
stopped her. I don't
undersupplied
remember who it was. If it was our great aunt, it might have been. I don't remember. But they were like, "All right, that's enough now." You know, it's like you make your
We're
point.
running out of spoons. How are we gonna eat the pasta with the spoon and the fork
You gotta eat
together?
it with
And we
your
got
hands.
uneven forks and spoons.
You gotta
You're
eat
breaking
it.
all the
You gotta eat
spoons.
it with your hands and
And
make
we
it.
eat it.
Isn't it ridiculous?
Oh my god.
Su pataro.
You gotta eat it with your hands.
Oh my god.
Well, then, yeah, because of the 90s, Madeline got into, like, the Riot Girl music and stuff.
Yeah, that was big.
Riot Girl. I was a Riot Girl.
Yeah, you were more than all of us.
I was the most.
Yeah, I think
It actually was not that big, though.
I never even, like, thought
it
about
It was
it.
not big. It was underground.
Riot Girl?
I have a
Yeah.
love
It's for me. It was ubiquitous.
Yeah,
Even
everybody
because
did.
we were in the underground.
Everybody
I remember
did.
being
Because
everywhere.
It was very like
Yeah.
I
love
like,
it and hate it for
I
different
like
reasons.
the art and I like the aggression, but then they were so and like when Kathleen Hanna was
Because
like,
that's
she's
what I
like,
remember.
"There's my tits." I was like, okay.
That's what I remember in the 90s.
That's what I
that
just
whole-
remember. I was like, okay, like
It was the next frontier in like what punk could be. It's like what else can punk challenge
Yeah.
or explore, and you know.
I got the whole, when I was watching The Punk Singer, there's that one scene where it's in England and this girl's at a punk show and she's like, lads, they get to do everything, but when girls go to shows, they won't even let you go in the pit, and if you do, they punch you in the face or something like that.
That's a really good accent.
She's like Rosa. She can do any
I
accent.
have,
Oh,
I have
wow.
a lot of English friends.
Oh, it's very good.
Oh
Yeah.
my god! Like, I mean, it's like there. I would think that it was extremely hostile over there. Like way
In
more than
Britain?
any. Yeah, than anything that we've ever experienced here. We experienced hostility. I mean, can you imagine?
Remember, I almost
brutal?
died.
Oh,
like
yeah.
skinhead wall of death.
Oh yeah, that was at Biohazard.
Oh my god.
That was
My skin
yeah.
was disgusting. I saw a skinhead on the train.
Yeah. They're like, they could be, I mean, I went out with a skinhead, but he was like a sharp skinhead, remember? Like, you know, but it wasn't, you know, they're supposed to be like more tame or whatever.
Or sometimes there's like the
But
anti-racist.
That's them, the
skinheads.
sharps.
That's fine.
Yeah, the
Well,
skinheads
yeah, well-
against racial prejudice. But,
Yeah.
so,
But it's
but
like, why are you skinny? Why don't you just not be skinny?
yeah, right. Well,
They like us, we
because,
like the outfits.
well,
man.
the thing is because
The
they
outfits
were,
are pretty cool.
you look like a Nazi.
Like,
the
I
thing
don't know.
is,
I like those jeans and bomber jackets. It's pretty cute.
Yeah, they were also like anti-establishment, shaving your head, all that stuff. They adhered to all of that,
The jeans
but they
and
weren't
bomber
Nazi.
jacket.
Like, you know, so
Oh
yeah.
my god! With
Yeah, like
the
those,
glue-
yeah, like the
That's
neo-Nazis, like
scary as
they're
fuck.
totally insane.
Do you still see them?
I saw one on the train, and I was like,
You
Yeah.
see
No.
everything on the
They
train.
used to have the codes. Remember their laces? I think if it was white or
No, that's right. They
if
have
it was
those on
white,
the
you were a
laces.
Nazi. But if you used yellow, it was like an anarchy symbol or whatever. It wasn't anything having to do with racial
That's so
stuff.
stupid.
If it was
I
white
actually
or
put white
red.
laces on my boots once.
I don't know if that still goes, but I remember if you
No,
saw
I
the
don't think
white
that goes
laces,
either. I'm
you
gonna
knew
look
that
it
that's
up.
what it meant. Like,
I always
contact
Google.
boots. Yeah.
And now like the internet's connected all those people. You know,
Mhm.
before, like when we were young, it was just,
Mhm.
you know, if you
You
knew
did-
people, you were,
Exactly.
you know.
So you said fucked up things happen on the train, and you only see certain kinds of people on the train. What if the train is a portal to another dimension?
Oh yeah, like the Bernstein Bears.
Oh my god.
I'm
Rosa's
obsessed.
obsessed with the Berenstain Bears, Bernstein Bears.
What is that?
Oh god. We've
Do you
been
remember
talking
that
about this
cartoon,
for
The
a
Bernstein
week.
Bears?
The Bernstein Bears.
Very
Bernstein
vaguely. What is
Bears.
that?
Oh,
Ask
you wouldn't
'em.
remember then.
You don't remember the Berenstain Bears?
No, I remember Paddington Bear. Is
Mm.
that?
That might have been. Was that
British
before?
bear with the raincoat.
Yeah.
Oh
it was a
yeah,
little-
that's so cute.
It's like
With
this
his, like,
little
little scarf.
Yeah.
These guys?
It was a British
Yeah.
bear.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
What would
Yes.
you? What do you remember their logo? Like what do you remember them being called?
What their name was? Like what was the name?
I don't remember.
So he wouldn't remember. But basically, the whole thing is, I always remember being Berenstein, SCEIN, or Bernstein.
Yeah, yes,
But
from
apparently,
Johnson.
it has always been Bernstein. Berenstain.
Berenstain.
And she remembers Berenstain.
Yeah, that's how it came up there.
Right.
I remember Bernstein.
You've always remembered Berenstain.
Yeah.
You remember consciously seeing the A.
Yeah.
Because I
So
remember
you
thinking,
think you were in a different dimension?
well, there's some people that are like, I always remember it being Bernstein. I think what it is.
And there's like a lot of people that think
Yes.
that.
And I think
Like
what
the
it is,
Mandela
some people
effect,
think it's the
they call
Mandela
it.
effect. Like Nelson Mandela, a lot of people remember that he died in prison, which that never happened. He was released, like he didn't die in prison. But everybody remembers this, so it's like a Jungian collective unconscious thing, some people believe. And I think...
We probably were just all a bunch
that-
of dumbasses who didn't read
No,
the rest
no,
of the
no,
word.
no. The thing is, I remember when I was little,
Well,
I
just like-
remember, and I don't know if this is a made-up memory, that I remember seeing the A finally and going, oh, it's Berenstain? Like, that sounds weird, because come to find out, you know, back when the family emigrated here, they did change the name to make it sound less Jewish. So it was Bernstein. You know, so then I was thinking, maybe it's because our minds recognize Bernstein. So it's like we made up that we were seeing it.
It could be that.
You know what I
too.
mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, because it
Yeah.
makes more sense because Bernstein's such a weird name.
Right.
Like, it's not even common.
That's
Well-
like that show Sliders. Do you remember that show
Yes.
Sliders where they were
I
different
love
dimensions?
interdimensional
Because
stuff.
it was a show where they were stuck going to different dimensions.
They
It
were
was
in a
always the
loop.
same time, but every
Yeah.
time there would be something different. Like one dimension would be like where they never
Yes.
invented penicillin.
Yes.
Or one would be like where the dinosaurs were still alive.
And they were always
And
trying to
they
get
finally
home.
found the one where it was like their original dimension. They finally got home. But they finally realized a few days later that the Golden Gate Bridge was blue. It was
Yeah.
blue, so
Like
they
that
were in the
type of
wrong
shit.
dimension.
I'm
But everything
obsessed
else
with that.
was similar,
Yes.
but just that was different.
And they were like, some people remember it from the A in Bernstein Bear, so those people got crossed over from the A universe.
Yeah, it's like this fantastical theory
I was like,
about
Can I
bleeding
go back to the
universes.
90s then?
Yeah, yeah.
Did the story originate in Denver? Like, were a lot of people just smoking up and like, dude.
That's what Matthew said. My brother's like, I feel like it was just these stoners that were like, remember this book, The Berenstain Bears? Dude, has it always been staying? And then, like, he started this whole thing. And people were like, oh my. Like, Cheez-Its.
Let's just put it out
Like, how do
there.
you remember the logo Cheez-Its?
Cheez-Its? Well, I mean,
Cheez-Its.
just, cheese. It's with the Z.
Right.
Z-I-T.
But there
But
has
where's
no-
the Z? Like, spell it. Like how you remember it.
CHEEZ-IT.
Cheez-Its.
Is it E-Z-E?
No,
E-Z-E?
How does it end? What's the last letter?
T.
Oh, so there's no. She might just be really detail oriented, and we're just fucking dumb. Because there's no S or Z at the end of
People
it.
think
It's
there's
just
an S or a
Cheez-Its.
Z.
Is it
Right.
Cheez-It or Cheez-Its?
She's it.
Nothing
And I remember
else.
looking at that,
Only
and
one?
I still think
Because I'm fat.
it's Cheez-Its. No, but listen.
Correct.
I still think it's
I could've-
Cheez-Its because I remember also noticing that. I'd be like, oh, there's no Z at the end. Huh. And then I'll forget because then when you asked me, I was
I'm
like, yeah,
telling
there's
you,
a Z
like
at the end.
Berenstain, maybe it always really was.
That's what I'm saying.
And like 10% of the population really looked at it.
Right.
Like I had a friend of mine that was the one that I told you was very detail oriented.
She said Berenstain.
Because she's very like,
When they were kids.
yeah.
So that was like.
And I remember thinking in my head, like, oh, that's how you pronounce that shit. I thought it was Bernstein. Oh, well. And then, like my dad's like, that is the alternate universe. I think just people just are dumb. You saw Dana Carver, you're like, I can't talk politics with you because I don't know shit. It's like my dad's like, you don't know shit.
You know, it's true though. Like nowadays, some people think they're like really well informed when they read these like crazy ass websites that make no sense,
BuzzFeed.
and it's just like
Yeah, BuzzFeed.
or like Breitbart or like any of those like. But it's like,
And then you're like,
people
what
think
is-
they're well informed, whereas they're just learning like bullshit. Like people believe Michelle Obama's a man, like
Oh, God.
or that Hillary Clinton wears these like ear pieces that like
Oh my God.
supposedly like
Oh, that Bill Clinton's on the
feed
other
her
side.
information.
Like
What is
Michelle-
it, Gem with the earring?
Yeah, she's like Gem. She's like Synergy.
Like Michelle Obama is like a babe.
I love her.
Oh.
I always
She's
loved
starving.
her.
People believe this
She's starving
strangest
Yeah.
crazy
children of
stuff.
America.
Wait, what is happening?
She's starving.
Oh, because she wants them all to be like
I'm
gluten
hungry.
free.
The only good thing that is going to come out of the Obama's leaving office is I'm going to get my school lunch back.
I'm just starving.
Wait, what is going
I'm
on?
hungry, Michelle.
What did they take out?
They made our school
They're
lunch.
trying to make them
Is
better.
it like healthy?
Like
It's
healthy?
prison food.
But they
But
are
why are
still
the carrots
bad.
like brown? Like,
Yeah.
like
Are they organic?
it's supposed to be
No.
organic. It's vegan now. Like it's supposed to be good.
No.
It's supposed to be good for you. And it like
It's like TV dinner.
When
Yeah, it's
I had to do a paper about this. And, like what happened
what's
was
going
on? Yeah,
they
tell us
had to
about
like marry the so like she wants to change it, but it was just kind of like a big picture thing. Like kids need to eat better.
Okay.
And then like in order to implement that or to keep like the programs with the farmers and the dairy
Okay.
Yeah,
association
there's all the special
and
interests,
so
Because
Of
it's
course.
always
all
special,
these special interests.
money.
So it's like they had to try and supply other things, but like maybe it's like it's a Salisbury steak without the gravy or something. You know what I mean?
It's
Or it's like
disgusting.
it's 1% milk, or they're still offering like strawberry milk, or all the vending
We
machines
don't
still
get
have
strawberry
soda.
we don't have it.
Like
Wow.
So
but
what do you
then,
guys
like,
eat
you
for
have to
lunch
have
now?
you have to have like a salad or whatever with your meal, but
Okay,
the
yeah.
salads are like nasty and brown and gross.
That's
You know what I
terrible.
mean? Right? It's not fresh, locally produced relationships with
What the hell is
food,
going on?
with
Like,
relationships.
mass
it wasn't
produced.
It
executed.
has to be mass production still
Yeah.
because of the special
Like the
interest.
kind of
So
stuff
it's like
that-
the intention is good,
Yes.
but the outcome is horrible
Because they still got their hands
and
in
the
it.
kids still are not going to eat that shit.
Right.
So they save their money and then they eat the shit from the vending
Of
machine.
course, of course.
Which is even worse.
That's
Which is
even worse.
And well, not only that. I mean, my personal opinion and
It's
from
like,
what I
Michelle,
read is that
I'm hungry.
a lot of people are not educated enough when
Right.
it comes to food choices.
Mhm.
So the kids don't know. They're like, pizza rolls? I'll just eat pizza rolls all
Sure.
day. I'm like,
Sure.
are you kidding, kid? You can't eat that chemical laden.
Yes.
Well, like give me
frozen crap.
anxiety.
Like I
Like
feel
Yeah.
Madeline like hates me, or I'm like I restrict a lot of things. Like I'm sorry, like
I'm telling
It's
you,
true,
the
though.
depression and
It's
anxiety
true.
that I got is from
I think
eating
it's poor
pizza
nutrition.
rolls.
Poor nutrition.
Eating pizza rolls.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
it's-
Let me
it's-
tell you
it's
why.
actually handful.
Let me tell you why.
Yes.
My whole life, I was crazy. So, you know, the end. I've always been crazy. I've always had super anxiety,
Yeah,
super
I had
OCD,
anxiety too.
super depression, life's in shams, holy shit, what the fuck, this is terrible. So obviously when you go to the doctors, my doctors are like, bitch, you crazy. Here's some shit. You know what I
some
mean?
pills.
Right, so you're like, okay, taking it, and you're like,
Yeah.
cool, man, my life's great. And then you're like, no, you just didn't think anything. Everything like stabilized. You're like, cool. Then I'm like, you know what? I don't really need this shit anymore. So they start taking you off, and I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible.
What else again?
I became like a neurotic, crazy person. So they're like, yeah, we can't do this. Boom,
Back on the pills.
back on. But then, now I've never been fully stable. You know, you're always still kind of
After-
anxiety after that. I've never been like, now if I eat too much chocolate, I'll get panic attacks and
Right.
weird shit
'Cause
like
it's
that.
it's the food.
But, bitch, I started doing smoothies. I woke
Yeah.
up one morning and I was
After the
like,
kale smoothie.
there was no. Usually when I wake up and I'm like, I hate life. I hate this. This is
Yeah,
terrible. And
she
I gotta
was
go,
like-
and I see a whole bunch of motherfuckers. Oh my god, they all hate me. Everybody hates me. Everybody hates me. Oh my god. Until I finally stabilize, and then I'm like, oh cool, this is normal. But in the morning, I wake up and it's a
And it was
shit
still
show in my
there.
head.
Then after
All
the
the
kale
time.
smoothie, she was like, I'm walking on sunshine.
Yeah, well,
I told
no
you.
shit
Remember
show.
when I was going vegan? I was
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry, but like I feel better on the inside. And
I
the
think it's
outside
the
it colors
food.
better.
I think it is the
Like-
food.
Well, in France, did you guys see that movie Michael Moore made, the Where to Invade Next?
No.
'Cause he went to France, I think it was, and he went to like preschool and like
Oh my God.
elementary school,
Yeah.
and they have a whole course for kids on how to eat,
Mm.
and it's all like this gourmet, beautiful food.
Wow.
And they spend like 4 months teaching kids how to eat
See?
and like eat well, and
Yeah.
and the school
In
lunches there are
moderation.
insanely beautiful. Like they're just these incredible. Like look it up. It's
Like it's
awesome.
good nutrition for
Yeah.
And
them.
here they're like, you want some drink with that?
Yeah.
It's like
no, like our
orange.
It's
school
almost like
lunches
it's on
look like
purpose.
prisons.
Yeah.
Wait, what is your school? Okay, so
Okay.
what's
And
a
they
school
compared
lunch?
school lunches with
Well, she-
ours, and it was
Let's
just
make
like,
this clear. She doesn't eat school
Oh,
lunches.
I don't eat school lunches.
But what is-
I don't.
What's a
So it's like different things every day, you know. It's so it comes in like this cardboard looking ass thing, and it's covered in plastic, and you have to like take the plastic off.
it smells like that plastic.
It
Yeah.
smells
Because they
it's
nuke
supposed
it.
and like the new containers are like, you know,
Biodegradable.
yeah, they're like brown, so they're
Yeah.
they're not like the plastic ones that we used to have. So and then they'll have like these floppy ass tortillas. That's
Yeah.
like it's distinct, and then like the meat doesn't even look like meat. This mac and cheese smells like broccoli for some reason, and it's disgusting, and it's all squishy, and it's all like rubbery.
Right.
And I was like,
Because
We're
it's
giving this
and-
to our kids.
nobody's eating.
And sometimes that's the only meal a child gets.
Yeah.
Especially based on their socioeconomic background.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes
That's what I was
that
thinking.
is the only nutrition they're going to get today.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's really important to make sure that the kids are educated to make their own choices.
Mhm.
If you have money in your pocket to go to the corner store, don't buy the Funyuns, buy the apple.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you've got something like...
Or buy the
this is
Funyuns
gonna-
once a month. You know what I mean? Or like
Hey,
once a
right.
Yeah,
while.
and that's like the
Right.
moderation.
In moderation.
Yeah.
Right, but just like if that's the only meal you're getting in the day, it's not good for your body. It's not good for your
No.
brain. You're not going to do well in school. You're not going to be able to, do anything physical.
Yeah.
You're going to get
Your
drained really fast.
metabolism goes
right.
down.
And, and there's no way what we can show what the outside world, our parents or anything, what our school lunches look
Can you
like.
take a
Right.
picture?
What do they look like?
No,
I
we
want to
can't.
see it.
Oh
you're
no,
not
there
allowed
was
to?
a study done. A woman took. She was a teacher at a school, and she took the pictures of the school lunches every
Wow.
year, for like once a day for a year, and they were horrible. I believe it's called the school lunch project. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, Michael Moore has a lot of the photos from it.
This is the kind of stuff that
What
makes
do they
me think
look
things
like?
are done on purpose because, you know, like who's going to cash in later on? Insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies when people have health ailments that, you know, came from poor nutrition. You know what I mean? It's like, hello?
I mean, I
There's
just
someone
think,
that I
like,
really look up to in this particular food revolution.
Is this
It's
it?
Jamie Oliver.
Is this our guy?
He is.
Our school lunches are worse than that.
Yeah, because that doesn't look too bad.
No, that looks alright. No,
Yeah.
It's more
we're
like
looking
that.
him up online right now.
Well, like Jamie Oliver, he's
Yeah.
a cook, but he's also an advocate for children's health.
Mm-hmm.
And he did this wonderful TED Talks about how, like, you know, our children, we're basically abusing our children.
Right.
We give them so much
Yeah.
sugar and think it's okay. You know, we're giving them all these chemicals. We're not teaching them how to make their own decisions in life going forward, and we're killing them.
Yeah.
That's why there's an obesity issue. That's why kids have
ADD, anxiety.
attention anxiety,
Absolutely.
attention deficit, anxiety issues. There's a lot of a lot of special interest money to be had, and no one fucking cares. And it's really sad.
And the
Listen,
problem
I
is,
went
like,
to-
and I don't buy into that. Like, everyone's like, there's these evil things happening. I just think, like, people are in their own self-interest. So, like, the grain industry is in their own self-interest.
Right.
The milk industry is in their own
It's sad.
self-interest. And what happens is, where everyone's in their own self-interest, at the end of the day, the government tries to, like, balance all that and tries to, like, find a common
Right.
ground. And at the end, it just becomes this gelatinous bad thing for everybody.
It is. It's just all
You know
gray
what I mean?
mud. Right.
I went to.
And it's hard.
I don't know. I think
Like-
it could be
hard.
more than that.
I went to.
There are some people I think that are malicious and all that, but I think the vast
Because it's like insurance
majority is just a
future
runaway
security.
system that's not working. You know what
You know,
I mean?
because
Yeah,
when
it's
you really
for
think
money.
about it, they make
It's
a
cheaper.
lot of money.
It's
in the
cheaper
end.
to make
It's
a
not
bunch
by
of garbage.
accident.
Like I
don't
went
think
to a
it's an
store
accident.
that's considered,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like, you know, I usually go to a store that's like more organic and stuff like
Right.
that. But that's
It's
not-
very expensive.
you know, it's like a smaller, but it's pretty. It's expensive. But
It
then
gets expensive.
it gets expensive. But then I went to like a chain, like
Uh-huh.
a bigger chain.
Uh-huh.
Foods.
Yes. So I went there and I went in, like the Whole Foods is like more expensive. Then I went to
Yes.
one that's like not as, but they still have like the line, like, you know.
You're
Like if
going
you
to-
go to
organic
like a
stuff,
Jewel, a
yeah.
Mariana, stuff
Yes.
like that. If you go into those places,
You could find the stuff.
You could find it, but they're so expensive,
Yeah.
dude. I ended up spending like $170
For, like, 10
For like
things.
10 things because they're so expensive, but they're so much better for you.
Right.
And I
But
don't
like when I lived in Italy,
That's
everything
what
was
I'm saying.
super cheap and everything was great. And I like lost weight like nobody's
Of
business. And I would eat
course.
pizza like twice a day.
That's
But it's like the ingredients
right.
they use are really pure and like.
But you could have good
But
pizza.
I don't understand why the stuff that's better for you isn't as accessible as the stuff that's totally shit for you.
Yeah.
And
Because
that's
of
what
the
I mean
money.
about things
Yeah.
being on purpose.
'Cause they don't make as
you
much of a
kind of
profit.
engineer
You know,
what people in certain socioeconomic groups are going to live like.
Right.
That's engineering things.
Absolutely.
You know what I
That's
mean? Like, that's what I'm talking about.
And
Right.
I was,
Because
That's why.
there's
Terrible.
this
It's
great-
Terrible.
cheaper to make it. It's
Terrible.
mass produced. It's
Uh-huh.
like made in a lab.
And they make more money.
and it gives
on
people anxiety.
Mhm.
So there's this great documentary called Hungry for Change. If you haven't seen it, please take some time
Yeah.
to see it.
Does it have animals like being killed?
Yeah, I can't
No.
watch that stuff.
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
won't tell you guys about that one. There are some like
I know
that.
there
I won't
is.
even tell you.
Yeah.
But this one in particular just kind of talks about incorporating good eating habits with having good mental habits and
Yes.
physical habits, and how it all plays a role. It's not just one thing. However, they do emphasize eating really well. And they have the chef on there, and I'm sorry, I forget his name. He's got this beautiful Spanish accent, and he was talking about how we don't eat food anymore.
Right.
We eat food like product.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, we don't. Food is what's listed as ingredients. You know what I mean? Like if you have a package of something, like real food doesn't have ingredients. In other
Right.
words.
It is what it is.
It is what it
An
is.
apple is an apple.
Right.
It grew from the ground and that's it.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. But supermarkets are out to make a profit.
Right.
And if you have things that are perishable and are turning, that's not going to make as much profit as something that could sit on the shelf for 6 months.
Exactly.
Sure.
So they make things that will sit out longer so that people can make more money in the
Of
long
course.
run.
'Cause that's
And,
all
you
it's all
can't
about.
necessarily blame them for wanting to be profitable. I mean,
No,
it's a
because
business.
you have
but
a
this
But that's where the
is-
government regulations should come in, and that's why when people want to take away our government regulations, that's what you get. is more of that.
But it's also just the mentality of these companies. Like, it's almost like that is what's ruined everything because the money is over
capitalism
the
without any
health.
rules. That's
Can we talk about?
But it's hold on a second. But it's, what I'm saying is,
Right, I'm totally like.
it's over person's best interest. It has nothing to do with that. It's all about their money. So it's already like that mentality is going to destroy
Like
civilization.
have you seen these new Obama healthcare premiums?
Yeah. I mean, but like people
What the fuck are we gonna
like
do?
think that like
Our lives are in
I mean, they're
shambles.
bad. But does anybody remember what it was like before Obamacare? Like things were already going up. It was already terrible.
Oh,
I
Was
mean,
it? It was a
Can you
lot
imagine
more,
if-
right? Wasn't it like $800?
It was horrible before.
I
like
think the way
I couldn't get insurance because I had a pre-existing condition. I would have paid
Oh,
like,
the
that's
pre-existing
right.
conditions
So
were
like
there.
people forget how horrible it was before, like pre-existing conditions and like people
Did you-
26 and younger couldn't even have insurance. Like it's bad and it's not good, but it's.
I
way
think it's
better than it
because
was,
they're
and-
still
and
involved.
it's
better
because-
than it
The
was.
It's because
insurance
they've
companies
tried
are
everything.
involved.
Well, yeah, but they've tried everything to torpedo the legislation for 8 years. I mean, Obama hasn't had any help, and it's not what he wanted. I mean, this is like
So how
It
can
was
these,
the kind of
are
watered
these
down
premiums
version.
ever be allowed to get that high again, like $800?
No, I don't think so. I think what's happening is actually in Illinois, I don't think it's going to be as bad. That's the nationwide one. But in some states, it's going to be worse. Some states, it's going to be
Wow.
better. Illinois is not going to be as bad.
But it was
Wow.
pretty bad. Some had it worse
Imagine
than
what some
us.
states are probably.
Some
Because
states are bad.
I'll only do
Some states
the
are bad.
shield. So that's all I'll ever get.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I mean, it's just it's not
then
the
it's sort of
legislation that anybody wanted.
if
The
you're
left,
about
it didn't go far
po-po-
enough for the left. It was like too much for the right. It was just
Yes,
like somewhere in the
exactly.
middle. and
they
it
like
didn't work.
But
decide
that's why-
almost like who gets to live and who gets better. Like if you're
Yeah.
a person who's could afford it, then you're
fine.
You're more
Yeah.
worthwhile.
That always happens.
like my premium is like
That's what I mean.
almost $400
about the
But
mentality.
then, like, if
of
you
things.
make somewhat enough
Mm-hmm.
money, like if you make over $38,000 a year, you're deemed better off.
Yeah.
to
And then you
live.
pay way more. Yeah, you pay a lot because you don't get the subsidies then.
Right, because then I don't get the subsidies.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they're like, you can afford it, which technically, yeah, you can.
right.
Barely.
But you barely can. You have to cut back, like what? Because for me, like we all are communal, so we like all help each other, like us in the family. What about people who can't?
Right.
What if I had to pay my rent?
Yeah.
You'd be fucked.
See, this is the other problem though that people don't talk about is the reason it's going up is like because the cost is so high. Like hospitals,
Yeah.
they charge an insane
That
amount.
too.
Pharmaceuticals, insane.
Yeah.
So
More
they're
than
like,
any
we're
other
losing
country.
Too much money.
That's why people go to like Canada to get their prescriptions because we charge like
And nobody says
50
anything
million
about
times
that.
more.
So
No,
who's the
that's
evil
exactly what
then?
that.
Who's the
insurance
evil? The
companies,
insurance
of course,
company?
they have to make like
They're part
not
of it.
making money.
So is it them or is it more the?
It's all
all
of
of
the
it.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Like insurance companies are bad, but
Where does it
it's
start?
way worse. The prescriptions are way bad.
And the
prescription
hospital
companies. And the
costs.
hospitals, they charge arms and legs, and some of them, I don't even think they pay taxes normally because they're considered like churches.
Well, Obama was the
Don't
one that
quote me.
wasn't it him that made the who was it that you had to have also mental health on those things before you didn't have that shit. But now he's like
Yeah.
everybody fucked up. You got to have that on there. Before you did, you had to pay out of your pocket. Remember Matthew when he was going 10, 15 years ago? They were like,
This whole thing was just a mess. Like, I remember one of my patients went, like, he's works for like an insurance company. He's like one of those, like one of the, top like executives from in there. And I guess like they were going to the White House when this was being drafted. He was like, guys, the whole thing is a mess. The president doesn't even know what's in this bill. I'm like, well, that makes me feel real. A lot better. Yeah. And he's like, I mean, the bill is seriously like from the floor to the ceiling. Like, how are you going to know?
kinda
Like with
insane.
all the amendments
But
in there and all the
something
different.
needed to change
And
because
that's
it
the
was really
thing.
bad.
That's-
It was 10
yeah.
times worse. It's bad now, but it was
Yeah.
so much worse.
That's what he was saying. He was like, it was almost like, in order to get it through, like this is as far as they could get, but they had to get it through. Like it's
Yeah.
like what happened with Medicare. Medicare took like after FDR. Oh my God! It took like 60 years before they
And now
actually
it's great.
finally
Now
did it.
Medicare works great.
Yeah, like it took forever.
Well, that's it for the beach portion.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've lost most of our viewers now. Most of our listeners.
So it's just like a rant.
She's like, Medicare!
I think you guys lost a lot of your viewers when you said we have a special guest today. We have to keep this PG.
No, but
Like, what do you think I was gonna be like? I love cookies.
It's like little recipes.
well,
One
Madeline is
thing-
an awesome musician too.
Yes,
so
she's
like,
incredible.
hopefully, she's gonna do a couple songs with the gang. We'll put it on the episode.
Yeah.
It'll be really fun.
Yeah, we're excited to jam on it.
Jam on it.
And Madeline, it's actually your generation that's I think going to make a huge change too, because you could tell the people that are younger are not for this really scary anti-everybody politics that's around.
Well, it's really hard working with
let
the
me
people
tell
from
you,
your generation.
This is the last of the old people that are scared. And,
hold on. There's one thing that I had to say too about the millennials. That's what Dana. Yeah, that's what Dana Carvey was saying. He's like, you guys are not going to mess up your lives like we did. We were too ambitious.
Yeah.
You're going to work small, live small, and it's like because they're not ambitious, but they're more in like.
They're in tune with what's going on around them.
And more feeling oriented.
Yeah.
There's a lot of positives to that, I think. Like maybe, like all the stuff that we're talking about. So
it's going to have to all change.
And
it's hard to marry the two.
They're used to thinking of not just themselves, they're used to thinking of community. You know what I mean? Because they're always online. They're always talking to people. They're not in their own heads.
It's crazy. It's totally
different. That's an
different.
interesting perspective.
It's totally different
that way.
And I think this is the zit. Like what's happening right now, we're popping the last of this horrible zit.
Mm-hmm.
And in the next few cycles, it's going to be different. This is just the last of it.
Yeah.
Exfoliating.
Exfoliating. Yeah, it'll take a little while because everything always does. You know what I mean? It takes a bit to like transition, and there's going to be like painful things. There's going to be clashes because of the transition. Yeah. But it's like a different way of like being. You know, and it's not as ambitious.
And I think older people, I think they're a little bit frightened at how fast things are changing. And I think like being online and seeing all this stuff, they're like most people that are like in the 50s, 60s, 70s grew up in a time that was much slower. I mean, all of us did.
Yes.
But
we remember the transition though.
For them, having somebody that's kind of scary representing them is a comforting thing. You know what I mean? Somebody like Trump. Because he's like a monster, but he's their monster, and he's like protecting them against all this other crazy shit that they do.
Well, in their mind.
In their minds. You know what I mean? I think that's the draw that he has with these people. That's why it doesn't matter what he says. It doesn't matter what he does. They don't care. Actually, the worse he is, the better. Yeah. Because they're like, he is our monster, and he's protecting us.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That is crazy.
Yeah. So don't vote for Trump. I'm not advocating. I'm just saying. That's
as an observation.
That's where they're coming from.
If Trump becomes president, I'm gonna hop on a plane. I'm gonna go in a trailer in the middle of the woods in County Cork.
Oh yeah, we're recording this 2 days before the election, so by the time this comes out, we'll know. So
we'll know.
So I know it's been a warm. It's going to be a warm winter, but hopefully it's not going to be a nuclear winter. So. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh God! Don't even say that.
Thanks for the anxiety.
It's not going to be that. They'll take care of him before that. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll see. Let's see how it turns out. We've got by the time this comes out, it would have already happened.
I love Bernie.
At the end of the day, I believe in this country. So we'll see.
I mean, we've gotten through so much.
God.
Why can't we just?
We always come to the right conclusion. It just takes us a long freaking time.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be okay in the end. I mean, look at where we've gotten.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyways, we love you guys.
Before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's on another level. We'll see.
Yeah.
I was watching the debate, and he was like, "So, Donald Trump, what are you going to do to defeat ISIS?" He was like, "Yes."
Oh my God.
And then he goes, "There's nobody who respects women more than me." I was like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah, you like totally just went completely to left field.
I just wanted to like jump in the TV.
But it doesn't matter what they say at this point. People vote with their feelings, especially now.
Oh yeah.
And there's going to be so many people that are just voting for Trump because they don't want a woman to be president.
That's true.
That's what I. Yeah.
But there's also people that are voting for her because they want a woman to be. So hopefully it's like the Obama effect, where people were worried, like, oh, they're going to vote against him because he's black. But plenty of people voted.
But Donald Trump's view on social issues are really making me upset. Like his views on abortion, his views on transgender, his bathroom that they want to use. That's what I'm like.
Yeah.
And also the fact that he wants to build a wall, he wants to make Mexico pay for it.
It's just so ridiculous.
So many shams. It's like a whole other podcast.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I guess on our next episode we'll know what happens.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I know.
Oh,
so that'll be
either that, if there is a next episode, because if not, that means we all died.
Oh my God!
So last will and testament.
Oh my God!
If we do, I'd like to give all of my Nina pictures to Nina.
It's a tribute.
I love you. You're the best, even though you're so like a bitch. And all of us my dad. older than my dad.
He's older than her dad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah!
It happens.
It's your One Direction. You
He's
know?
older than my dad by 5 years, and I'm like, yikes! He's sad! And my dad's like, what the hell? Like, my dad was like, it's not a big deal. He, like, talked to you. I was like, what the such a big deal? Like, I was like about to cry. I was literally shaking. I was like,
She got a Twitter message from Nuno.
it was on
Betancourt.
Instagram.
From
It's
Extreme.
Instagram. Excuse me, I thought it
He
was Twitter.
commented on my picture, so I can't say anything bad about him because, like, he knows me. And he's on, like, tour in Asia.
Oh my god.
And I told my dad, I was like, Dad, you have no right to insult him. He took time out on a date. I wish someone cared. Because my dad's like, Becca's a terrorist. He's a shit. He's like 2 feet tall.
So he has to like badmouth him the whole time.
Yeah,
Shut.
yeah, my dad's like, he's a shit. You can't play guitar. He's a shit. My dad's like, he's a fast guitar player. He's a good guitar player. I was like, yeah, shut up.
And on.
And I'm like, he's gorgeous and he's so talented. My dad's like, oh, shit. But you fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
I love him.
But you fucking bullshit.
I love him.
Oh my god, I love that Dana Carvey special. You guys have to
Yeah,
watch
it was really good. It just
Yeah.
came out
I'll
on Friday.
take a look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
it's
really good.
totally
Is it on-
hilarious.
what is
It's
it,
on
on
Netflix.
Netflix? Oh, Netflix.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. So after you watch it, I'm sure.
No super battle.
I know Saturday.
It's
Bridget
hilarious.
Everett's coming to Chicago on
Yes.
Saturday. Go see her.
Yes.
Mom, aren't you going to that?
Yes.
Hilarious.
Super battle.
All right, guys.
Thank you so much.
We're gonna wrap it up. Thank you for listening again. Hopefully, you got a lot of information that could help you in life.
Hopefully, you
this
listened throughout the
episode.
whole thing.
So until next time.
Ciao for now.
Bye.
Saying I love you is not the words I want to hear from you. It's not that I want you not to say, but if you only knew how easy it would be to show me how you feel. More than words is all you have to do to make it real. Then you wouldn't have to say that you love me, 'cause I'd already know. What would you do if my heart was torn into more than words to show you feel that your love for me is real?
If you like what you heard, please share us on Twitter at Bitch Podcast, on Facebook at Lab Podcast Chicago, on Instagram at l.a.b._podcast, or visit our website www.labpodcast.com.